Have you ever felt little discomforts in your body that you can't quite explain? That feeling that something just isn't right could be far more serious than you think. Today, we're talking about one of the most silent and deadly cancers, pancreatic cancer. In this video, you'll discover 8 early warning signs that could save your life or the life of someone you love if you recognize them in time. This isn't about scaring you, it's about being informed, aware, and prepared. Every signal, no matter how small it seems, can make the difference between early detection and regret. Stay with me and learn how to truly listen to what your body is trying to tell you. But let me ask you something directly. What if those minor discomforts you're ignoring are the first signs of something much more serious? What if, while you think it's just a fleeting ache, a silent and dangerous disease is developing, progressing unnoticed while you continue with your routine? Today, I want to speak to you frankly about one of the deadliest and most silent cancers, pancreatic cancer. A disease that doesn't announce itself with obvious symptoms, but acts like a thief in the night, advancing unseen and masking its traces with subtle signals that most people never associate with something so serious. Did you know that pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers precisely because, by the time it's detected, it's often too late? And the saddest part is that those first warning signs have always been there. No one taught you to recognize them. No one told you that these seemingly harmless changes were actually red flags that should not be ignored. Today, right here, we're going to break that silence. I'm going to show you the 8 key symptoms that could make the difference between detecting it early or finding out when treatment options are already limited. And no, this isn't about scaring you. It's about giving you clear, direct, real information so you can be prepared. I warn you, symptom number 5 is so unusual and little known that most people ignore it, not realizing it could be the very first warning sign. It will surprise you so much that, I promise, you'll never look at it the same way again. Remember, my commitment here is to help you truly understand what your body is trying to tell you, to teach you to listen to those whispers before they turn into screams. Information isn't just power, it's prevention, it's health, it's life. So don't click away, because what you're about to learn could change the way you notice the small details in your everyday life, and who knows, it could even save your life or the life of someone you love. Get ready, because what's coming next is something you won't easily forget. The first symptom might seem so common that in most cases it's immediately dismissed. A mild abdominal discomfort, that annoying feeling in the upper abdomen just below the ribs. Sound familiar? The tricky part is that this discomfort doesn't appear consistently or intensely, which makes it all the more dangerous. It comes and goes, sometimes after meals, other times during stressful moments, or even for no apparent reason. And because it's mild, we blame it on indigestion, nerves, or that heavy meal that didn't sit well. But few people realize that the pancreas sits right in that area, behind the stomach, near the spine. When a tumor begins to develop in this gland, inflammation or tissue growth can press on nearby nerves, causing that uncomfortable sensation, which, instead of being a sharp, alarming pain, feels more like pressure or a dull, persistent ache. Here's what makes it even trickier. This pain often eases when leaning forward or lying in a certain position, leading people to believe it's nothing serious, just posture or temporary digestive issues. But if you notice this discomfort recurring, becoming more frequent, and not responding to antacids or usual remedies, don't ignore it. It's your body trying to get your attention. And here's more. In advanced stages, this pain can radiate to the back, especially the mid or lower back. When this happens, it's a clear sign the problem is no longer as superficial as it seemed. So, if you've ever felt this type of seemingly random, intermittent pain, pay attention. Your body is always speaking. You just need to know how to listen. Another key symptom, often underestimated in its early stages, is jaundice. That yellowish tint that can start appearing on the skin, and especially in the whites of the eyes. And I know what you're thinking. That's obvious, isn't it? You'd be surprised how many people fail to notice it early because it starts subtly, almost imperceptibly. Initially, it's a slight yellow tint, visible only under certain light, particularly in the eyes, but if left unchecked, the color gradually intensifies. And what does this have to do with the pancreas? A lot. When a tumor develops in the head of the pancreas, the part closest to the bile ducts, it can start to block them. This obstruction prevents bile, which helps remove toxins and digest fats, from flowing properly to the intestines. The result? Bile accumulates in the body, and one of its components, bilirubin, rises in the blood, tinting the skin and eyes that characteristic yellow color. But that's not all. This process also triggers other changes that, if you know what to watch for, are real warning signs. Urine may darken significantly, taking on a deep amber color, even without dehydration. Stool may lighten, turning grayish or even whitish. And since bile helps digest fats, you might notice heavier digestion and abdominal discomfort after fatty meals. These signs may appear together or individually, but the key is not to ignore them. Many people get used to seeing that slight yellow tint in their eyes, or dismiss dark urine as dehydration, while the real problem silently progresses. So if you notice any of these changes, no matter how minor, don't ignore them. This isn't about scaring you, it's about staying alert. Can you imagine losing weight without trying, without changing your diet or exercising more? At first, this might even seem like a positive thing. Many people think, "How lucky, I'm losing weight without doing anything." But what they don't realize is that, in most cases, when weight loss is rapid, unexplained, and sustained over time, it's your body's way of signaling that something serious is happening internally. And pancreatic cancer is an expert at causing this kind of unexplained weight loss. Why does this happen? Here's a simple explanation. The pancreas, in addition to producing insulin to regulate blood sugar, is responsible for creating enzymes that help digest food, especially fats. When a tumor affects the pancreas, this organ starts failing in its digestive functions. As a result, your body doesn't properly absorb the nutrients from the food you eat. The outcome, even if you eat the same as always, you don't assimilate calories well, lose muscle and fat mass, and your weight drops dramatically. But it's not just about seeing a lower number on the scale. This weight loss comes with a thinner appearance, a more gaunt face, more pronounced dark circles, and a constant sense of fatigue, as if your body doesn't have enough fuel to keep going. And the most concerning part? This process can be so gradual that at first you might not even notice it. You look in the mirror one day and realize your clothes fit looser. Weeks later, someone says, "You've lost weight, it shows in your face," and you hadn't even realized it. So pay close attention. If in the past few months you've lost several kilos without reason, if you're eating as usual and still feel like your energy reserves are draining, it's time to consult a doctor. While unexplained weight loss can be related to other conditions, in the case of pancreatic cancer, it is a very characteristic and worrisome symptom. Have you ever noticed that suddenly it's harder to focus your vision, that letters seem to dance on the page, or that you need to squint to see clearly, even up close? Perhaps your eyes tire more quickly, lights seem more dazzling, or your concentration isn't what it used to be. You might think it's fatigue, too much screen time, or just aging, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. These changes can also be related to pancreatic dysfunction. And what does the pancreas have to do with your vision? More than you think. When the pancreas fails, especially in regulating insulin production, blood sugar levels can become unbalanced. Even without a prior diabetes diagnosis, pancreatic dysfunction can trigger fluctuations in glucose levels. The problem, the retina, that delicate layer at the back of your eyes, is extremely sensitive to changes in blood sugar. When blood glucose is not controlled, the tiny blood vessels in the retina can become inflamed or weakened, directly affecting the sharpness of your vision. But it's not just a visual issue. These imbalances also affect oxygen supply to the brain. That's why, along with vision problems, many people begin to experience difficulty concentrating, frequent forgetfulness, and a constant feeling of mental fog. Of course, it's common to think, I'm stressed, I haven't slept well, it's the screens. Meanwhile, the real problem keeps progressing, hidden behind these seemingly logical explanations that are really just excuses preventing us from seeing what's truly happening. So, if you've noticed lately that your vision isn't what it used to be, that your focus is slipping, or that you feel mentally slower, don't take it lightly. It's another signal that your body is trying to tell you something important. And now, pay attention, because we're coming to the infamous symptom number 5, the one many don't know, the one almost no one associates with a serious problem, yet it is one of the most revealing. I warn you, what you're about to hear will surprise you. Ready? Here it is. Yes, you heard that right. Something as seemingly harmless as persistent itching on your skin can be a sign that something is wrong with your pancreas. And we're not talking about occasional itching that disappears after a while, but an annoying sensation that persists day after day, even without visible rashes or irritation. The curious, and what very few people know, is that this itching is not random. It has a direct explanation connected to what I mentioned earlier about jaundice. When the pancreas starts to fail and the bile ducts become blocked, bile cannot flow properly. As a result, bilirubin, the substance that gives the skin and eyes their yellowish tone, accumulates in the blood. Here's the key point. High bilirubin levels in the body not only change skin color, but also irritate the nerve endings in the skin. The result is an indescribable constant itch that can be especially intense on the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet, though it can also spread across the body. And you know what happens in most cases? People try to fight this itch with creams, cold showers, or antihistamines, thinking it's a simple allergic reaction or dry skin. But no matter what they try, the itch persists, reminding them that the cause is not superficial, but internal. If you combine this with the other symptoms we've discussed, abdominal pain, changes in skin and eyes, unexplained weight loss, and vision or concentration problems, it's time to raise all the alarms. So if you notice this itch, especially when there are no obvious signs of skin irritation, don't underestimate it. It could be that early warning sign which, if heeded in time, makes the difference between early detection and a late diagnosis. Now get ready, because the next symptom I'm going to describe directly affects your stomach, but nobody associates it with the pancreas, yet it is a clear warning that something is wrong. Have you ever noticed that after eating fattier foods than usual, your stomach immediately reacts? That uncomfortable heaviness, as if the food isn't moving along, often accompanied by nausea or mild discomfort that forces you to sit down and wait it out. You might think it's just a digestive issue, that the meal didn't sit well, and ignore it. But what most people don't know is that these reactions can be a direct signal that the pancreas is not functioning properly. Here's a clear explanation. The pancreas not only regulates blood sugar, but also produces essential digestive enzymes that break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. When this organ is compromised by a tumor, enzyme production drops significantly. What happens then? Your body becomes unable to properly digest food, especially fatty meals. This leads to prolonged digestion, the feeling that food is stuck, recurrent nausea, and in some cases, vomiting after heavier meals. Alarmingly, in the beginning, this symptom only appears occasionally, after a slightly larger meal than usual, but gradually becomes habitual. Every time you eat something richer in fat, your stomach reacts as if you're overindulging, even when you're not. And of course, the usual response is to seek quick fixes. Take an antacid, drink a digestive tea, or just wait it out. But what people rarely ask is, why is this happening now if it never did before? Combine this symptom with the others we've discussed: abdominal pain, unexplained weight loss, changes in skin, persistent itching. It's time to stop making excuses and start taking action. This is undoubtedly one of the clearest signs that the pancreas is beginning to fail, yet most people ignore it. Think about it. How often do you really pay attention to the characteristics of your stool? Most people avoid looking, but what we excrete daily is one of the most accurate reflections of what's happening inside our bodies. When the pancreas doesn't produce enough digestive enzymes, especially those responsible for breaking down fats, stool takes on a very characteristic appearance: pale, grayish or yellowish, greasy or oily, sometimes even shiny, floating in the toilet, and hard to sink. On top of that, it emits a much stronger, unpleasant odor than usual. This happens because undigested fats are eliminated directly through the stool, and it's not just an unpleasant aesthetic issue, it's a direct warning that your body is failing to absorb essential nutrients, which inevitably leads us to the next symptom. This isn't typical tiredness from a bad night's sleep or a stressful day. We're talking about deep fatigue that doesn't go away with rest or sleep, a feeling of having no energy even for the simplest tasks, of being drained from the moment you open your eyes, as if every day is an uphill battle. This type of exhaustion has two main causes when it comes to pancreatic cancer: malnutrition from poor absorption of fats and fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, depriving your body of essential nutrients for energy production, and the inflammatory process and overall wear caused by the disease, which consumes resources and energy at an accelerated rate, leaving your body depleted. So, if you notice that, without any apparent reason, you are increasingly weak, lacking energy even for the simplest activities, and you've also observed the stool changes I just described, it's a clear sign that your body is screaming for help. Now that you know these 8 symptoms, the big question is, will you continue to ignore what your body is trying to tell you, or will you start truly listening today? The difference between timely action and later regret could be paying attention to these simple, easily overlooked signs. Remember, your body always speaks, sometimes quietly with mild discomfort, a small digestive change, or that unexplained fatigue. If you don't listen, those signals grow stronger until they can no longer be ignored. I'm Dr. Margaret Ellis, and if this video has helped you, if you now see things differently, don't forget to like and subscribe. And do me a favor, share it with your loved ones, because believe it or not, this simple gesture can save lives. And before I go, if besides these symptoms you've recently noticed memory lapses or trouble concentrating, I invite you to watch my other video on the early signs of cognitive decline, because health isn't just about what we eat, it's also about what we know. See you in the next video, and remember, a light back, a healthy body, and a clear mind. That, my friend, is true quality of life. A big hug.